Shalom, Israel. We're the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. We've been on these streets since 1969, trying to tell blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that Martin Luther King is not a good man and is the opposite of what righteous and God-fearing leadership is. Okay, we're going to get an understanding of this, and we're going to help you understand that Martin Luther King is not the leadership that God put in place for blacks and Hispanics. Okay, and we're going to find out some truths about Martin Luther King that they don't like to teach you. First thing I need is Deuteronomy 16 and 18.
Oh God, Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 18. Judges and officers shalt thou make thee in all thy gates.
Now, when it's called, the Most High gave us our people land, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. He commanded us, okay, what you see as the first 5 books of the Bible are the books of Moses, or the Torah are the laws of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. God gave us a law that wherever we are, we're to create our own legislative system with the judges and officers. Okay, judges who judge situations and officers who carry out those judgments. Keep going.
Oh God, which the Most High thy power giveth thee,
right,
throughout thy tribes, and they shall judge the people with just judgment.
They shall judge the people with just judgment. But here's the problem. Martin Luther King didn't judge the people with a just judgment.
Right.
Martin Luther King judged our oppressors as if they were good. Martin Luther King judged our oppressors as if they weren't murderers and thieves. Martin Luther King judged our oppressors as if we're all created equal, when that's a race of thieves and murderers, and we're a race of slaves. Keep going.
Verse 19. Thou shalt not wrest judgment.
Thou shalt not rest. What does rest mean, y'all?
Meaning like make?
No. Rest. Think about it. There's another word similar.
Come.
Like, think about a word that sounds similar to it. Very simple. It's a word. You're missing 2 words at the end. It's a popular homosexual activity. Well, we'll call it homosexual. We would call it homosexual because of the way it is. You don't know? If you don't know, I'll give it to you.
Hold on.
La. Simple. Wrestle.
God.
So what does wrestle mean? Don't.
Like you table yourself, like
no. What happens when you wrestle? You're
fighting.
You're fighting. So what does it mean when it says don't rush judgment? Don't fight judgment.
Fight judgment.
Meaning what? How does Dr. King fight judgment? Dr. King,
So like by loving his oppressors.
Dr. King fought judgment by loving his oppressors. Dr. King fought judgment by going out saying we need the right to vote, thinking that by us being able to supposedly get on a jury pool, that was going to fix something. Guess what? It didn't. In about 2016, it had come out that since the Civil Rights Bill was passed, they have always padded the jury pool to not let black people on it. You cannot get judgment or righteous judgment from your enemy. Your enemy won't give you righteous judgment. He's your enemy. Why would your enemy allow you to come into his house after he's robbed you and his success is based off him robbing you, and then you expect him to hear the matter of him robbing you, and then for him to say, you're right. Matter of fact, let me take all the money out my wallet. Here's my car keys. Here's the deed to my house. I'm going to go sleep on the street. Matter of fact, you can be the judge now because I stole all this from you. Like, that's what Martin Luther King taught our people. He taught our people that was the right thing, that could somehow happen. Don't fight judgment. What's judgment? What's it called? We fight judgment now by trying to come together with America. We were fighting judgment 6-7 months ago when we were up what's called holding hands with white people in these goddamn riots and rallies and all this garbage. Okay, you fight judgment when you do anything other than hate and separate from your oppressor. That's how you fight judgment. That's how you wrest judgment. How else do you wrest judgment? You don't hold Martin Luther King accountable for the evils he did to our people. You got Israelites right now who won't badmouth Martin Luther King. Right? But these same Israelites will badmouth their mother. Okay, you got Israelites right now, and there's a lot of them, sadly, who look up to and what's his name? Goddamn. Malcolm X. Look up to Malcolm X. That is a goddamn idol worshiper. Like, our people are so lost in the source. They'll fight judgment. Why? Because everybody loves Malcolm. He's an idol worshiper. Malcolm is famous for literally, well, that's one of the things he's famous for, is literally coming back and saying, having his wife read a note, after all that white man a devil, so on and so forth, they're a devil race. You want to lose your rank inside of the nation, then go over to Mecca and say, I drank a drink out of the same cup as people I would have called white men. Right? This is what happens when you rush judgment or fight judgment. Malcolm needed leadership. No, Malcolm needed friends, quote unquote. So he went to his enemies. Martin needed friends. So he went to his enemies. Okay, keep going.
Thou shalt not respect persons.
Thou shalt not respect persons. Right? That's what our people do. We respect Martin. We respect Malcolm. Why? Because they're special. They're put on pedestals. Okay? Keep going.
Neither take a gift.
Neither take a gift. What is a gift?
Basically, a gift is something that would, when you accept that gift, you feel as if like they're your friend.
They're your what?
Your friend.
They're your friend. But give me an example of a gift.
I don't want con.
What did they give Martin?
They gave him a day to him to celebrate.
Give me more, like in his lifetime. That didn't happen until afterwards.
Kind of civil rights. When now white people could drink out of other white people fountains and eat in there.
Give me more. Give me more. Give him a gift. They allowed him to be a sexual deviant.
God.
Well, what's the gift they gave Malcolm? People, okay, they allowed Malcolm to grow and get an audience. Okay, these are the gifts that our leaders got. Our leaders got gifts by getting paydays. Our leaders got gifts by being accepted by our enemies. That was the gift. Okay, when instead it should have always been to hell with this other nation. Keep going.
For a gift doth blind the eyes of the wise.
Keep going.
And pervert the words of the righteous.
Okay, meaning what? What's it called? By Malcolm and Martin being allowed to have these gifts, mainly Martin, right? By Martin being allowed to go inside and be beloved by our enemies, that made him think it was okay for everybody to come together. And we're going to find out this is not something he got later in life. Martin was always like this. Martin always had a problem with accepting our enemies and trying to be amongst them. And we're going to get in the Bible how that's against the scriptures. Okay, keep going.
God, verse 20. That which is altogether just shalt thou follow.
Now, did Martin follow everything that's altogether just? No, he didn't. The scripture says we're not supposed to mix with our enemies. Okay? He didn't follow everything that was just. He told us to come together at some table of brotherhood. The scriptures is against us coming together with the other nations. Right. Keep going.
That thou mayest live.
That thou mayest what?
Live.
Did he get to live? What's it called? So what's it called? Why? Because he went against what the Most High said. He was killed inside of a hotel. We're going to get into that whole thing. Keep going.
And inherit the land which the Most High thy power giveth.
Now let's stop. After he's dead, have we inherited the land? or are we still in a worse position? Are we in a worse position? We're in a worse position now than we were during segregation. But during segregation, we actually had things of our own. Like I was reading the other day, one of the oldest black bank in Chicago is about to close. You know why? Because everybody uses Capital One. Everybody uses TD. Everybody uses, give me another bank, Chase, right? Nobody's gung-ho to go into and buy these things. And we're going to explain civil rights to you. We're going to explain the spirit behind civil rights and why that whole idea was evil. Like, y'all think that's so beautiful. Like, Rosa Parks and her movement was a very evil and disgusting and hurtful thing to black people. Rosa Parks hurt black people by her actions. Okay? Drop that. Give me John 8:44. Okay?
John chapter 8, verse 44. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do.
Now, who's this talking about, y'all?
He's talking about the Sadducees, the Pharisees, the people who have power with the oppressors.
Okay, give me more. Okay, go from the past. You said the scribes and the Pharisees that have power with the oppressor, but give me more. Why do I care about them? Why would I care about them in their time? Like if I lived back then, why would I care about these men?
Well, first and foremost, because they're Israelites.
You give a damn. Saul was an Israelite. You think I give a damn about what Saul says? Joab was an Israelite. You think I give a damn about what he says? Give me another wicked Israelite. The cats who, the cats who, in Judges who caused Benjamin to almost be exterminated. Those are homosexual Israelites. Do I care about them? Why do I care about these cats, though? I'm going to give you a small hint. We just read over it.
These are the judges of Israel.
And officers. That's, and I kind of, what's it called? So you understand, you're familiar with the Maccabees. You're familiar the Maccabees are priests. Those are Levites. You're familiar that's only about, give or take 2 centuries around the time before Christ. Meaning when the Romans came in, the cats who were in charge of Israel were their descendants. Because of how Israel came up back from that time, if you were someone important in Israel, more than likely your parents were friends with the Maccabees during that time. Like your daddy was probably one of Judas's generals or one of his advisors and so on and so forth. So then you'd have situations like, well, I might live in Rome, but I want my child Saul to be, a part of the nation and be great inside of our government. So I'm going to send him down as a little boy to be raised by the high priest Gamaliel, and then he'll grow up to be a great Pharisee. And then he'll have power he'll have power and authority, right? So that when a crazy lunatic named Yahushua goes around calling himself the Son of God and HaMashiach, my son, who's not a Levite, will have the power to take a sword, go into the Holy Land, and slit anyone's throat who talks about Yahushua is HaMashiach. If you're not aware, I'm talking about Paul. Paul was able to, because of that's how we were working at that time, Paul was able to do what he did. Because technically only a priest can kill you. However, if a priest deputizes you, you can have certain privileges. And that's what happened in that case. That's the scribes and the Pharisees. The scribes and the Pharisees are priests and the friends of the priest. They're, for layman's terms, they're the aristocracy of Israel. Aristocracy, if you're not aware, is basically the idea that the 2% rule. Like not necessarily the upper class and the upper middle class are who's in charge, right? And Christ is calling them what? We'll read that from the beginning.
Ye are of your father, the devil.
The what?
The devil.
The what?
The devil.
Now, who is the devil?
Deceiver.
Give me more.
Esau, the oppressor.
Okay. Okay, our oppressor is the devil, but why is he calling them the devil?
Why is he calling the Sadducees and Pharisees?
The devil, yes. Why is he calling them the children of the devil? Or the sons of the devil?
Because they're hypocrites.
Okay, give me more. Keep going, keep reading. None of you.
And the lust of your father he will do.
Now, why is he saying the lust of your father you will do? That's important.
In other words, they know that they call themselves priests. They portray themselves to be righteous. But all the more, you understand, they're sinners.
Okay, but give me more. Why does it say the lust of your fathers you will do? What is the lust of their father?
Is this talking about like in a case like taking bribes and taking gifts?
No. Give me. What is the lust of their father? First off, who is their father?
The Sadducees and Pharisees?
Yeah, who is their father?
Levites?
No. Stay in the verse.
Come. The devil.
The devil. So, what is the lust of their father? Lust, meaning his great want.
Come.
What is the great want of the devil or our oppressor?
To rule.
Okay, yes, I like that, to rule, but give me something else. Give me more. He wants to rule. Okay, but you understand, like, could George Floyd do anything to the police? Could George Floyd fight the police? Would George Floyd have been taken to a black judicial system or a white one? No, I'm asking, that's a question. Would he have been taken to a black judicial system or a white judicial system? White. Why?
Because the oppressor, they get away with killing black, Hispanic, and Native American.
Okay, yes, but why? But you said his lust is to rule. But if that's the case, if that's the case, doesn't that mean he's already in rule? Like George Floyd couldn't afford the police, couldn't afford against the police lawfully. George Floyd wasn't going to go to a black judicial system who would hear his case as a black man and treat him as one of their own.
Right.
So aren't they in charge? Aren't they already ruling? What was the real lust that day with George Floyd? Was the lust to rule over George Floyd, or was it to what? What did they end up doing happily to George Floyd?
They killed him.
They killed him. The lust of your father you will do.
This is about murder?
This is talking about every evil thing that the Most High does. No, that our oppressor does. But what you have to understand is they do it. They push. You have to understand. Our leadership is a pack mule for our oppressor. It's just a messenger, which is why they're called angels in the Matthew's the 24th chapter. Right? The devil and his angels. They're just a messenger to get his ideas out. Planned Parenthood. We have to use the preacher. Right? All these other things. The pastor, you got Jesse, you got all these other cats, pushing this. Like you had our pastor pushed, our pastors pushed for 3 strikes. That's how we got 3 strikes inside of our communities. But it wasn't because our pastors technically wanted 3 strikes. You know what it was? Our oppressors wanted to enslave us and imprison us. Using the newly created privatization of the prison system. I see you. But what's the problem? The lust of your father ye will do. That's their whole MO is getting our oppressor's agenda out. And what's our oppressor's agenda? Fulfilling his lust using us. Yeah, what you gonna say?
No, Salaki, so I was gonna say that. So basically,
why do you think, okay, Salaki, before you even say that, why do you think most pastors nowadays don't speak against homosexuality?
Right.
Your oppressor wants you to be a homosexual, so he can't speak against it. Read, what you gonna say?
I was gonna say the same thing. They're using our people to push their wicked agendas.
Copy. They're using what? They're using what again?
They're using our people to push their agendas.
They're using our people. Well, they're using, okay, how do I say it? Well, to a point, yeah, we're the salt of the earth, so we are used to push things and make it mainstream. You gotta understand, we make things look cool. Like honestly, it may seem weird to us because we're products of years of like really doing it, but what is cool about being a gangster?
Right.
Like honestly, like really think about it. Like here's the truth. Here's how you know it's not cool to be a gangster. A real gangster will look at you like you a fool. A real gangster look at a 6'9" nigga and will really want to end his life. You know why? Because that's not a game. And it's not cool. And it's not fun to be out 3, 4 in the goddamn morning having to sell drugs in your community, or else you and your family won't eat. That's not fun. That's not cool. But our people are used to push these goddamn narratives. And that's another thing you have to understand. Leadership isn't only just your pastor. Your rapper is now your leader, sadly. Thanks to Dr. King. Thanks to Dr. King and the destruction that he allowed to happen in our community, our people don't even know what leadership is. Like, thanks to Dr. King, Umar Johnson is considered a leader. What the hell made Umar Johnson, like, what's it called, a leader for black people? Thanks to Martin Luther King. And then, you know what's sad? The cat who might be a celebrity and give a damn about black people, nobody does anything for him. Like, I'm gonna say something, like, I don't like, I kind of lost a little respect for Nick Cannon after that whole incident. But at the end of the day, I can respect Nick Cannon's decision because Nick Cannon's not in the truth. So Nick Cannon doesn't know about our protocol, which is no cowards. Like, what's it called? That cat could do something great, right? And do all that. And he could end up like Colin Kaepernick. Nobody helps Colin Kaepernick. Nobody does things for Colin Kaepernick. He's out. Why? Because he stood on his own. And because of Dr. King, that's what happens. Right? You rock the boat. You don't, what's it called? Nobody's going to stand with you. And that's what happens with Dr. King. Okay? Keep reading.
He was a murderer from the beginning.
He was a murderer from the beginning. Meaning what? Since we got here to America, the white man has been killing us. All through Jim Crow, the white man was killing us and putting us on trees. That's our oppressor's history. Okay? But Martin Luther King thought it was a good idea to try to mix us with these people. To try to mix us with the same people that were killing us in the South. To try to mix us with the same people that would not let us inside their eating establishments. And let me explain this. Let me explain civil rights. Civil rights was about upper-class black people, upper and middle-class black people who had the money to eat inside of white establishments, who had the money to shop inside of a Macy's and shop inside of what's a famous white shoe store? Right? Like, we don't even know them. Right? Okay. They wanted to shop inside these establishments, but they wouldn't allow them to, right? Because they're black. Here's the thing, though. We didn't care. We were happy going to the black shoe store, eating in the black restaurant, getting the black, using a black bank, and so on and so forth. These middle-class people created the civil rights movement in order to help themselves by padding their numbers using simple poor people. They convinced poor people they should get bit by dogs and sprayed with fire hoses so that they can drink out of the same water fountain as a white man. They convinced our people to be beaten simply so they can walk into a store and give a white man their money. That's what happened with all these races. Okay, keep reading.
And abode not in the truth.
And abode not in the truth. know how many lies the white man has told just to get America? 170 plus treaties he made with the Native Indians. Broke them all. He doesn't live in truth. There is, keep going.
Because there is no truth in him.
He's not going to tell you the truth because everything about him is a lie. Y'all think white people are so great and majestic? Like, our people are thinking, like, it's so wrong that we have to go to this school and they have this nice school. You know why they have a nice school? Because they robbed you. If I'm not mistaken, Cornell University is based off money stolen from Toussaint Louverture, the governor of Haiti, or Hispaniola. Right? A devil stole the money for that college, stole the money from Toussaint and used it to build a college. That's the Haitian people's money. That money needs to be returned. Okay? Every dime of it. And the school should be either given the black people or shut down completely. Okay? But our people, we don't think about that. All we think about is they have money and we need it. And it's not even our people, it's our leadership. It's our greedy, selfish, evil, gift-loving leadership, which is what the Bible was saying earlier. The judges and officers love gifts, so they're blinded by it. Okay, keep going.
When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own.
We're going to have peace here in America. We're going to sign this civil rights bill, and no one's going to do anything that's a lie. Will there be peace among white people in America? But glory be to the Most High God that He's destroying that peace.
Right.
Okay. Have you seen the news articles and all that and the videos about the Capitol, like DC? Like they're boarding them up and all that, making sure nobody does anything Wednesday. Keep reading.
For he is a liar and a father of it.
He is the father of lies. What does that mean? You know?
Lie.
Well, what is the first lie?
Is this talking about
Who is he?
He is the deceiver.
Okay, but what else? When is the first time he's on the earth?
Slakia during the time of Cain?
No.
Oh, Slakia, the serpent.
John, what is the serpent known for?
For lying.
For lying, right? He is a liar and the what?
Father of it.
He is the first liar. You can't believe a goddamn thing that comes out of a white man. You can't believe Joe Biden, man. You can't believe Joe Biden. You can't believe Lyndon B. Johnson like Martin Luther King did. Lyndon B. Johnson has a secret recording that says the Civil Rights Act, mind you, he's the president who signed it in the law. He said the Civil Rights Act can't mean anything because if it did, Negroes would take over the country. So from its inception, the man who signed the bill in the law said this means nothing. Okay? Keep going. But you know who does benefit from civil rights? The white woman. They did that study. The white woman benefited the most from civil rights. Keep going.
Verse 45. And because I tell you the truth, ye believe me not.
Now, what does that mean, y'all? I'll tell you. In the past, during this time, 7 men specifically, right? I'm not going to name off all the names, the heads of this school, in 69, and even before then, were on the streets telling black people, integration will not work. We are supposed to be separated from our enemies. And in a few decades, or a few years rather, your children will be back on these streets marching about injustice because you cannot trust this enemy. This is our oppressor, and this is the land of our enslavement and captivity. We will never be together with this white man. You know what they called us? Crazy, lunatics, a hate group, so on and so forth. Right? We weren't believed. People did not believe that we had the truth, right? That this would happen. But now what do we see? Right? Now drop that. Okay, and we're gonna read a little article. How about, did you know that Martin Luther King had a white girlfriend? Did you know about that?
Concept.
Okay, we're gonna get the story of how Martin Luther King used to deal with a white woman. Okay, and understand, he went against his family. This is not what his father and mother wanted, and we're gonna find them. This from Politico, right? The name of the article is "We Were Madly in Love," right? It took me a long time to find Betty Moyes. That's the woman's name. I had first learned her name while reading Bearing the Cross, the 1986 biography about Martin Luther King Jr. Okay? They had met at Crozer Theological Seminary in Chester, Pennsylvania, at the time where King was a divinity student from the age of 19 until 22. When he graduated in May 1951, in Bearing the Cross, Garrow quoted a close friend and mentor of King's at the time, Reverend P.S. J. Barber, who said the relationship had left King as a man with a broken heart over a white woman. He never recovered from having his heart broke from a white woman. Right? Now, you're going to understand something. Martin Luther King's dream was about himself.
Right.
And we're going to get that. Okay? And that dream wasn't even his. Okay? Now, this is the beginning of it. From the start, Moyes and King's relationship was anything but carefree. Almost all of King's friends, including Barber, tried to discourage him from staying with Betty. Meaning what? Back then, black people had half a backbone, and we somewhat innately knew our culture. So we understood, now, what are you doing with a white woman? The hell? Okay, and what's so beautiful is that these are all cats trying to be preachers. Even though Christianity has always been about we all come together, at least back then they kind of knew, yeah, you don't deal with a white woman. That's all. Knowing that what an interracial relationship would mean for his future, I thought it was a dangerous situation that could get out of hand. And if it did get out of hand, it would smear King. His Crozer classmate Cyril Pyle recalled in a 1986 interview, it would make his future hard for him. But Betty recalls that time, it'd be a King with fondness anyway. In our year-long correspondence and one long meeting in January 2016, Betty, who recently passed away at the age of 89, told me the story of their relationship. And just how close King came to walking away from his future plans for her. Meaning what? He would have easily given up his love of black people to be with this white woman. We were madly, madly in love, the way young people can fall in love, she told me during our conversation at her home. She started at the beginning. Okay? ML's own feelings for Betty were something he tried to keep secret. Hold on one second. Give me Jeremiah 14 and 13. He tried to keep secret. Oh, yeah, I know that. Though he'd even written to his mother about his other recent dating prospects. What does that mean, Shaul?
Yeah, more than one woman.
No. Not just, yeah, possibly, but no. What is that saying?
Repeat the question.
Though he'd even written to his mother about his other recent dating prospects, he would not have been at all eager to inform her that he was interested in a young white woman. What does that say about him? What? It's very simple.
That's saying that he loved white women.
Huh?
He loved white women.
No, that's not what it's saying. Though he'd even written to his mother about his other recent dating prospects, he would not have been at all eager to inform her that he was interested in a young white woman.
Meaning that he had black women in the past?
No, that's not what this is saying. It's very simple. He knew what he was doing was wrong. He knew full well he could not write his mama and say, "Hey, mama, this is me and my new white girlfriend." Because mama was going to kill him. His mama was going to feed him the riot act. He wasn't raised like all these Christian fools today. Martin Luther King was raised correctly to know, don't deal with no devil. You got to understand, black people back then knew the white man is the devil. It's these new cats that are raised by this idiot, that are raised and taught to follow in this idiot's footsteps, that think that that's okay. Back then, there was, you got to understand, most people during Martin Luther King's time thought he was a sellout. They knew full well, yeah, let's come together and hug the people and hug these white people. No, a white man put a shotgun in my goddamn cousin's mouth and blew his head off. That happened to Frank Lucas. Frank Lucas talked about that. Frank Lucas talked about that in his documentary, and I believe they also put it in the movie. Yeah, nah. And this is who you want me to love. Black people did not like him. Okay, you got Jeremiah 14 and 13.
Jeremiah chapter 14, verse 13. Then said I, Most High Power, behold, the prophets say unto them, Ye shall not see the sword.
You know, we're going to get into this. Now, here's the problem with this. Martin Luther King taught our people that this would be the right thing for us. Keep going.
Neither shall he have famine.
Keep going.
But I will give you a short peace in this place.
Now, what does that mean? I will give you a short peace in this place. Con, you don't know? Simple. Meaning what? Nothing bad is gonna. I have a dream that we're all gonna come together. I won't make it to what's called. I won't get to the. We're gonna make it to the promised land. I might not get there with you, but we're gonna get there. I'm promised, but I will give you a short peace. You won't have a sword. You won't have famine. You'll have peace. I might not be there with you, but you're gonna make it. We're gonna have what we need. And then right before he dies, I fear I integrated my family into a burning house. I think I might have put integrated my people in with the Proud Boys. I think the KKK might be inside of America. That's what Martin Luther King did. That's what he created. Keep going, read verse 14.
Verse 14. Then the Lord said unto me, the prophets prophesy lies in my name.
The prophets prophesy lies in my name. Right? Keep going.
I sent them not.
I didn't send these guys. Keep going.
Neither have I commanded them.
Keep going.
Neither spake unto them that prophecy unto you a false vision and divination.
That prophesy unto you a false vision and divination. God did not send Martin Luther King to teach us to love white people. You know why? Jacob have I loved, Esau have I hated. The Most High hates our oppressor, the so-called white man, the devil in the earth. God hates him. So what's called? The Most High, any vision or dream that MLK is having is a lie. Keep going.
And a thing of naught.
It's nothing. Keep going.
And the deceit of their hearts.
And the deceit of what?
Their hearts.
Of what? Who?
Their hearts.
Meaning what? The deceit, what's called, is he wants to be in a relationship with a white woman.
Right.
Okay? He was heartbroken that he had to leave his white woman. That's it. Yeah, right. He was heartbroken at it, right? So what does he do? He pushes a message that says, what's it called? We should all be able to come together with white people.
It's a lot. That's crazy. Based off this one dog.
Right. Give me 17 and 9, Jeremiah.
Oh, come. Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 9. The heart is deceitful above all things.
The heart is deceitful above all things. Keep going.
And desperately wicked.
And desperately what?
Wicked.
What?
Wicked.
For all those Christians who be like, God knows my heart, your heart is what?
Wicked.
No, the first word, and.
Salaki.
And. All things and.
Salaki. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked.
Your heart is desperately wicked. Okay? What's it called? Meaning what? What you want to do is not in the scriptures. You want to be with Betty. You want to teach others to be with their Betty or their Becky or their Karen, right? But that's wicked, right? Desperately wicked. Keep going.
Who can know it?
Who can know it? Only the Most High can know you're evil. Okay, Betty Moitz, get back into this. Walter McCall, ML's best friend and hallmate, who went by Mac, knew of course, but he saw no harm in helping his best friend separate himself even further from racial norms they both believed were outdated. Meaning what? He wants to have sex with a white woman too. And though a few other students took note of ML and Betty's friendly dialogue, it was after all a small world inside Old Main. No one seemed too bothered. Fellow Crozer seminarian and King friend Marcus Wood in particular understood some of what spurred ML's attraction. I suppose he thought that here I am out of the South now and not back home. Wood said in 1986 interview, out in the open, nothing illegal, a free place. Sure, I can go over and talk to this white girl. Meaning what? What does that remind me of? Scripture that says, those who are under the law shall die by the law, but those who are righteous, but the righteous shall live by faith. You know what that means? People who don't want to keep the law or unrighteous people only keep the law because they'll die otherwise. A righteous person, you could drop me on a beach with 100 naked white women, beautiful as hell, I still won't touch them. Why? Because I have faith that I will die somehow if I touch those white women. Martin Luther King said, while I'm out the South, there isn't going to be a caravan of pickup trucks trying to take me and hang me in some backwoods if I say hello to this white woman. So I'm going to try to talk to her. And then what? When he saw that it could be detrimental and that this is only a honeymoon phase and this might not last, he said, I know what I'm going to do with my life. I'm going to make my life's work trying to make sure everybody can get with a white woman. And that's all the civil rights really got us. I can have sex with a white woman. Like, I'd say give a hand clap for that, but yeah, that's not good or funny at all. Like, yeah, that's all we really got out of civil rights. Okay. Throughout the course of Amel's first year at Crozer, his relationship with Betty continued to develop as their chats moved out of Miss Hannah's basement kitchen. Soon, Amel was also making the straight 5-minute walk from Old Main to visit her at the Moitou. She used to go over their house quite often to see her, Wood wrote in his 1998 memoir. Amel felt at ease with Betty. It was the enthusiasm with which he spoke on a wide range of topics that first attracted her. He would talk and talk and talk, Betty says. Salakia, 1 second. Okay. And when Amel's sister Christine came to visit him at Crozer, as she did regularly, his friendship with Betty crept back into the shadows. It wasn't that Emma didn't trust Christine. Their relationship had always been strong. It was the fact that Christine was a direct conduit to their mother. And that was something Emma could not risk. Telling his sister about Betty would have meant putting her in the unenviable position of withholding important information from her mother in every letter and phone call home. And if Christine were to let slip that Emma had been getting close to a white woman, Emma could have only imagined the disappointment in his mother's eyes. Why? Because we as a people know you don't do that. Betty knew about these concerns. He was worried what she'd think, she recalls. Now, here's the thing. Emma would have known that dining at a predominantly white restaurant was a risky proposition, but not only for himself, but for Betty as well. But their relationship was a way for him to test the limits of Northern culture. Meaning what? If they saying I can go out to a restaurant with a woman, then let's test it out. This cat, like, honestly, I took a white woman into a white restaurant before. I wasn't even the one dealing with the white woman. I thought I was going to be lynched that night. Like, no funny. I took a white woman into a white restaurant because she was with dealing with my mans. And she was, you know how females try to be, they want to impress the friends. They'll be like, yeah, she got peoples and all that. She took me to some Russian spot and got me like these Russian type of beef patties. Boy, the minute I walked in there, that whole restaurant was just like, oh, hell no. First off, why is the nigger in here at all? This is a completely Russian muffin, like dead ass. And then second off, he's in here with a white woman. I'm like, yo, I'm about to be lynched tonight, my nigga. Right? Such boundary pushing becomes easier when one starts to fall in love. And according to Betty, that's exactly what was happening. Okay, now we're gonna drop this and this off. He dealt with white women and his family, and he knew better than to deal with white women. Give me Proverbs 14 and 3. We're gonna get into the fact. Guess what? His name ain't even Martin Luther King. Okay.
Proverbs chapter 14, verse 2. He that walketh, Salakia. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 3. In the mouth of the foolish is a rod of pride.
What is a rod of pride? What is a rod used? To lead, to show authority. A rod of pride. Listen to me, I'm that dude. I have a dream. Right? He's a fool. In his mouth is a rod of pride. Keep going.
But the lips of the wise shall preserve them.
The lips of the wise shall preserve them. We don't speak our own words in here. We speak the Most High's words. We speak what the Scripture says. Scripture never said to go out and say you had a dream that we can love white people, because that's nowhere in the Bible. Now, give me Proverbs 3 and 31 and hold it. And we're going to get into the name. What's going on?
No, that's just a description.
Okay, this is AJC. When he was born January 15th, 1929, Martin Luther King Jr.'s name was Michael. It's the name originally on his birth certificate. Now, Salakia, let me explain something to you. Michael is a biblical name. Right. Martin or Luther is not. Neither of those is biblical. You love God so much, you change your son's name to a non-biblical one. I'm sorry, you and your son's name to a non-biblical one. He was named after his father, the Reverend Michael King, who was senior pastor at Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta. Okay, in 1934, Ebenezer sent Daddy King to Europe for a Baptist World Alliance meeting. Although the meeting was in Berlin, King traveled to Rome, Tunisia, Egypt, Jerusalem, and Bethlehem. While in Berlin, the senior king witnessed the beginnings of Nazi Germany. Adolf Hitler had become Chancellor the year before King's arrival. This Congress deplores and condemns as a violation of the law of God, the Heavenly Father, all racial animosity and every form of oppression or unfair discrimination towards the Jews, toward colored people, or toward subject races in any part of the world. King toured much of Germany, the country that is the birthplace of Martin Luther and the Protestant Reformation, which led to a split with the Catholic Church. You familiar with Martin Luther? Joel? You're familiar with Martin Luther? No. Martin Luther basically is a cat who everything used to be Christianity as you know it used to be ran directly through the Catholics. There was no real Christianity without them. Martin Luther and several other cats came up with the Protestant Reformation. I want to believe this, I want to believe this, I want to believe this. Baptism is how you get into the kingdom. You can't go if you're not baptized. Well, if you don't believe specifically how Luther believes, then you can't go to heaven. That makes you a Lutheran and that makes you a Baptist. Well, we believe in Pentecost and so on and so forth. Now you're a Pentecostal and you're this, and that's how you get the different denominations. Martin Luther King's father saw this and said, he's a great man, right? When he returned to Atlanta, the senior king decided to change his name and his son's name from Michael to Martin Luther, after the German Protestant leader, according to the Martin Luther King Jr. Research and Education Institute at Stanford. Thus, we can see that Berlin was partly responsible for Martin Luther King Jr. becoming the man we celebrate today. So yeah, even his name is a lie. Now give me Proverbs.
Proverbs chapter 3, verse 31. Envy not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways.
Envy not the oppressor and choose none of his ways. Meaning what? Don't choose his names. Don't choose his system of religion. First off, you messed up because you chose his system of religion. That's where you really messed up. But the Most High said, don't envy your oppressor and don't choose his ways. That's it?
Come on, God.
All right, drop that. Give me, well, we're going to get into his lies and plagiarisms. Because that's another thing. Give me Isaiah 30 and 1.
Come on, God.
Yeah, because that's another thing. He did not write, I have a dream. Are you familiar with that?
I've heard.
Yeah, Con. I'll get the information for you in a second. I'm trying to give me 30 and 1.
Come on, God. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 1. Woe to the rebellious children.
Woe to the what?
Rebellious children, saith the Most High, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit.
Meaning what? They take counsel, but not of me. Who are they taking counsel from?
It's pastors, Martin Luther.
Martin Luther King, Orgy Mike, right? That's what we call him here in the school, Orgy Mike. They found him in hotel. They have recorded, the FBI had recordings that they sent to his goddamn wife of him having wild sex parties in hotels with prostitutes. Okay, that's who they took counsel of. They took counsel from a sexual deviant who loves having sex with white women. And okay, his goal was to mix us with white people. Why? So he could have sex with more white women. Okay, keep going.
But not of my spirit.
And cover with a covering, but not of my spirit.
That they may add sin to sin.
Add sin to sin, right? Keep going.
Verse 2. that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth to.
Okay, meaning what? That walk to go down to Egypt and have not asked to go to, and have not asked at my mouth. Meaning what? He's saying you're going to die if you follow your oppressor. That's what Martin Luther King did. That's what woe means. Woe to the rebellious children. Meaning death and destruction to anyone who goes down, walks to go down to Egypt. Okay. Hold up 1 second. Okay, I think I found it. The cat who originally wrote it is Archibald Carey Jr. Okay. Archibald Carey Jr. I was trying to find something easily researchable about it. Archibald Carey Jr. is originally who made I Have a Dream. Another thing he stole, King specifically, is his dissertation. You know what a dissertation is, Shaul?
No.
Your final essay to graduate college as a doctor. Meaning what? He's not a real doctor. But here's the evil thing about it. The white man such the devil. You have to understand. Cal Katazar said this a long time ago, and this is so true. If you see our oppressor upholding any black man, you need to question him. Right? Why? Because you shouldn't trust that. Why would our oppressor uphold any one of us? They do this. Why? Because our oppressor, Michael taught us to be a good slave. Right? So, of course, they're not going to take away his doctorates. Of course, they're not going to remove his statue. Martin Luther King went around beating women inside of hotels. Why isn't there a surviving Martin Luther King? Why aren't there a surviving Orgy Mike? Where's the surviving? Matter of fact, let me know that. Where's the surviving Orgy Mike at? It don't exist. Why? Because he's on a pedestal, so no one will touch him. Okay, now drop that. Give me what else I have? Hold on. 30. Give me back to we're gonna end off in a second. But matter of fact, give me Deuteronomy 17 and like 14. We're gonna end off in a second. I just got like 2, 3 more.
Salaki, we're not going to Jeremiah.
Oh, we're gonna go. That's probably where we're gonna end.
Salaki, you said Deuteronomy is what?
17 and like 14. Right when it talks about kings. 15, start at 15.
Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 15.
Right?
Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Most High thy power shall choose.
Meaning what? God chooses our leadership. God did not choose Martin Luther King. Our oppressor chose Martin Luther King. You know why? Because Martin Luther King loved them. Martin Luther King would accept a gift. Right? Keep going.
One from among thy brethren
Keep going.
Shalt thou set king over thee.
But Martin Luther King taught our people to make our ruler, which is another word for king, right? Lyndon B. Johnson. You got his lackeys today teaching our people to make their ruler Joe Biden.
Right.
Okay? And you got other cats even 4 years ago who thought it was a good idea to make our leader Donald Trump. Okay? Blame Martin Luther King for this.
Right.
Blame Martin Luther King for Breonna Taylor.
Right.
Blame Martin Luther King for George Floyd.
Right.
Blame Martin Luther King for Trayvon Martin. Blame Martin Luther King for our prison numbers and our abortion numbers. Keep going.
Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother.
But to let you know what, Martin Luther King was not a man of God and doesn't know what a man of God would do. Why? Because what's it called? He showed you clearly. He should know better than have our people go to Lyndon B. Johnson.
Right.
Keep going.
Verse 16. But he shall not.
Stop. You can drop there. Okay. Drop that. Give me 18 and 15. Okay. Now we're gonna get to exact. This is the punishment of Dr. King that he actually did get. Keep going.
Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 15. The Most High thy power will raise, the Most High thy power will raise up thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto me.
Like unto who?
Unto me.
Unto who?
Unto me.
Who is this? Who's the me?
Talk about the Most High.
No. Who's the author of the
Moses.
Right. Now, what is Moses most known for?
For leading Israel.
Yes, but give me more. What bears Moses' name? It's some kind.
So what bears Moses' name?
Yeah. It's something very important in our nation that bears his name.
Yeah,
something very important. Understand everything belongs to the Most High, but another name for this is also of Moses, because Moses established it.
The commandments?
The law. The same thing. The law. Now, what does that mean? What is the law? What happens if you have... What's the law on what happened when Martin Luther King dealing with Betty?
You would put to death. Die.
You would be put to death. So what is a man like unto me? A man who...
A man who upholds the law.
A man who upholds the law. Upholding the law is we don't deal with other nations.
Right.
In any way, shape, or form. You over here actually trying to have sex with them. Right? Okay? So that's how you know what's called Martin Luther King is not a prophet sent by God. Because he doesn't act in the way of Moses. Okay? You know how you know Christ was a prophet? Christ went into the temple and beat priests because they went against what Moses was saying. That's how you know he's a prophet. We know Martin's not a prophet, or Michael's not a prophet, because what's called he was in the hotel room having sex with all the hookers.
Right.
Keep going.
Verse 16. Like unto me, unto him he shall hearken. Verse 16. According to all.
Meaning what? Y'all should have listened to the brothers on the corner who've been telling you since the 60s, in the 50s, what's called integration will not work. Right? Y'all should listen to him. Instead, y'all want to listen to the person who's trying to mix you with the Ku Klux Klan. However you say it. Keep going.
Verse 16. According to all that thou desirest of the Most High thy power in Horeb in a day of the assembly, saying, let me not hear again.
Okay, you can strap that. 18, give me 18, Salakia.
Verse 18.
That's talking about why we have prophets. We have prophets because our people couldn't hear the Most High speak. It was scary. Keep going.
Verse 18. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and will put my words in his mouth.
I'll raise them up a prophet from among their brethren. Okay, keep going.
And he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him.
He shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. He's not going to speak his own words, which is what he spoke. Okay, it doesn't line up with this. God, Most High doesn't love the heathen. So what are you having a dream about them for?
Right.
Okay, now we're gonna get it. Okay, verse 19. Give me 19.
Verse 19. And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him.
Meaning what? Anybody who chose to listen to Martin Luther King and your Christian pastor instead of the men of the Lord and the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, the Most High requires that of you. So what does that mean? Trayvon Martin's grandparents and his parents, the Most High required that of them. So their son got shot by Neighborhood Watch. The Most High required it of George Floyd's mother, which he cried out for. So the Most High took George Floyd. The Most High required it for the Most High requires evil for not requires something from you for not doing what he tells you to do. And here's what happens. Keep going.
Verse 20. But the prophet which shall say, presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other gods, even that prophet shall die.
Shall what?
Die.
Shall what?
Die.
Now let's see what John. Let's see if I'm bugging out and it's just my words, right? Because I'm saying all this and connecting scriptures and saying this is about Martin, and you can use these scriptures for Martin. Let's see if the Bible has some concrete evidence about a man dreaming and lying and saying that God gave him the dream. Give me that, Jeremiah 23. But what did he just say? A man dies if you say a prophecy that God didn't say. What happened to Martin Luther King though?
He died.
Yeah, he died, right? Yeah. So let's see if the Bible has anything to back up that.
Come on. Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 25.
Is that where it starts out? Yeah, right?
Come. I have heard the prophets say and prophesy lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed, I have dreamed.
They have what?
I have dreamed, I have dreamed.
Meaning what? I have a dream, I have a dream. This is nothing new under the sun.
Right.
Okay? This is very, very old. I have dreamed, I have dreamed. Okay? There have always been Martin Luther King, but here's the problem. Martin Luther King always gets his just desserts. Why? Because Martin Luther King always does the same thing. Mix us in with people who want to kill us. So you lie to our people, the Most High sees you, and then he kills you for it. That's what happened to Martin Luther King. This man should not be honored. This man should be remembered. Not memorialized, but remembered for the evil that he did.
Right.
And what that evil perpetrated inside of our community. Keep going.
Verse 26. How long shall this be in the heart of the prophets that prophesy lies? Yea, they are prophets of the deceit of their own hearts.
Meaning what? All they care about is all Martin cared about was having sex with white women. Right? So that's why he pushed the whole agenda about us coming together. Keep going.
Verse 26. Verse 27. Which think to cause my people to forget my name.
Which think to cause my people to forget my name. What do they think? What is the name they're forgetting? Their name is the reputation. We serve a God, a racist God. We serve a God that only loves us. We're a part of a community that isn't for interracial marriage. How do we know that? And how does How does Martin know that? Because he couldn't even tell his mama he was dealing with a white woman. He was afraid his sister would find out and tell his mama, because she wouldn't have been with it either. Keep going.
I want God.
Can't do that.
I'm going to read that from the top. Which think to cause my people to forget my name by their dreams.
Right? Just because you have a dream about us, about people sitting together at some table of brotherhood with white people. Where's this table at? Only time I see me and a white person at a table is when a white person asks me, sir, approach the bench. Right. Will the defendant approach the bench? That's the only time me and a white man is at the same table. Keep going.
Which they tell every man to his neighbor, as their fathers have forgotten my name for Baal.
What's Baal? Baal is just another type of Christianity. He's teaching he's making our people forget our culture and our way of life in order to be better Christians, in order to be better slaves for our slave master. Keep going.
Verse 28, the prophet that hath a dream, let him tell a dream, and he that hath my word, let him speak my word faithfully. What is the shaft to the wheat, saith the Most High?
Meaning what? At the end of the day, I don't care what they do, right? If you want to go out telling stupid people about your goddamn dreams, do that. But if you actually want to be a righteous servant of God and prophesy, do that. Because there's a difference between chaff and wheat. Keep going.
Verse 29. Is not my word like as a fire, saith the Most High, and like a hammer that breaketh the rock in pieces?
Isn't my words more powerful? Keep going.
Verse 30. Therefore, behold, I am against the prophets, saith the Most High.
Meaning what? He's against them. He doesn't like them. Keep going.
That steal my words, every one from his neighbor.
Meaning what? Steal my word. God is full of the world. They steal my words. They'll take a scripture here and a scripture here. See what God have made clean. No man called common. See, we can eat pork now, brother. You're reading the wrong Bible. You're reading the wrong scripture. That's in the Old Testament. Right? You steal his words when you do things like that. You are not allowed to eat pork. You are not allowed to love white women. Keep going.
Verse 31, behold, I am against the prophets, saith the Most High, that use their tongues and say, he saith. Verse 32.
Keep going.
Behold, I am against them that prophesy false dreams, saith the Most High, and do tell them, and cause my people to err by their lies, and by their lightness. Yet I sent them not.
Meaning what? Meaning by their error and cause my people to err, meaning what? Everything, all the death and destruction you see in the black community is because they pushed us further into the white one. We would not have as bad of a heroin problem now if Martin Luther King went on a megaphone in DC and instead of saying we need to come together, all black people need to leave the United States military. And if you have a member of your family that's in the United States military, you need to shun them. Tell them they need to get out. And if you have anyone who's concerned about getting in, shun them. Tell them they'll be cut off from the family. Right? Then we wouldn't have so many of our people coming back home from war, GIs and dopeheads at the same time.
Salakia.
Khan.
What does it mean by their lightness? Is it talking about their popularity?
Their lightness, meaning they think small of things. They think it's a small thing that Tulsa, Oklahoma existed. That's small to them. Let's say ATL was a mainly black town. That's a small thing because we want white businesses inside of ATL. They don't realize that's billions of dollars that stay within the black community. That's what lightness means. With that, pass class over to Police and Officer Shaw. Sound track is cut.